Hello. The first two stories are from Fritz and the third story is from Ouspensky. As I was moving a large kettle full of boiling water in order to stoke the fires, I somehow spilled it on me, mainly on my entire right arm. I dropped the kettle, howling with pain, and Madame Cherneval, the cook of the day, screamed for help and sent someone for the doctor. Instead of the doctor, Gurdjieff appeared, completely unexpectedly, in the kitchen. He had arrived much earlier than we had anticipated. Without a word and not even seeming to listen to Madame Cherneval's almost hysterical explanation of what had happened, he strode over to me, pulled me over to the stove, removed the iron rings and exposed the red-hot fire. He then seized my burned arm and held it with all his force over the open fire. Probably not for more than a few seconds, although it seemed an eternity to me. When he released me, he said very seriously and calmly that the proper way to fight fire was with fire. This way, he said, you not have scar on arm, burn already gone. I was amazed and very much impressed, not only with the painful treatment, but also because of his completely unexpected appearance at just that moment. Inevitably, it did seem to me one of those fateful occurrences which I could not simply charge off to coincidence. Madame Cherneval told me after he had left that she had had a similar experience with him several years before and knew that what he had done to me was the proper treatment for a burn, but that she would never have had the force or the courage to do it. We both remained overawed for the rest of the day, and Madame Cherneval certainly encouraged my temptation to feel that his appearance at that time had been in some way supernatural. We continued to talk about it for several days, mostly because, as he had predicted, there was not only no scar, there was no pain, and no physical evidence of any burn at all. He looked alarmed when he saw me, and asked me what was wrong. I said I needed some aspirin or something for my headache, but he shook his head, stood up, and pointed to the other chair by the kitchen table. "No medicine," he said firmly. "I give you coffee. Drink as hot as you can." I sat at the table while he heated the coffee, and then served it to me. He then walked across the small room to stand in front of the refrigerator and watch me. I could not take my eyes off him and realized that he looked incredibly weary. I've never seen anyone look so tired. I remember being slumped over the table, sipping at my coffee, when I began to feel a strange uprising of energy within myself. I stared at him automatically, straightened up, and it was as if a violent electric blue light emanated from him and entered into me. As this happened, I could feel the tiredness drain out of me, but at the same moment his body slumped and his face turned grey, as if it was being drained of life. I looked at him, amazed, and when he saw me sitting erect, smiling and full of energy, he said quickly, "You all right now? Watch food on stove. I must go." There was something very urgent in his voice, and I leaped to my feet to help him, but he waved me away and limped slowly out of the room. He was gone for perhaps 15 minutes while I watched the food, feeling blank and amazed because I had never felt any better in my life. I was convinced then, and am now, that he knew how to transmit energy from himself to others. I was also convinced that it could only be done at great cost to himself. It also became obvious within the next few minutes that he knew how to renew his own energy quickly, for I was equally amazed when he returned to the kitchen to see the change in him. He looked like a young man again, alert, smiling, sly and full of good spirits. He said that this was a very fortunate meeting, and that while I had forced him to make an almost impossible effort, it had been, as I had witnessed, a very good thing for both of us. He then announced that we would have lunch together, alone, and that I would have to drink a real man's share of fine old Armagnac. As we ate an enormous lunch, drinking glass after glass of Armagnac, he told me to talk, just to talk about whatever had been troubling me. I found it difficult to begin, for at that moment I had no troubles at all. I felt wonderful. But once I began, I was able to describe my entire history since I had last seen him, summarizing easily and using a form of shorthand which seemed completely natural to us both. He listened without comment, then said finally that what I had told him was of no real importance, nothing to worry about, and asked me how long I would be able to stay in Paris. I told him I had 3 days, and he said that I was to come to his apartment for lunch and dinner every day during that time, but that the rest of the time I was to go out and play. "One thing you never learn," he said quietly and affectionately, "is how to play, even though I tried to teach you this when you child. Now you go out and do anything that will amuse you, any kind of play, then come back here at 10 o'clock. I asked him what was going on before 10 o'clock, and he said there was going to be a meeting. When I suggested that I should come to that, he said laughing, "No, do not come to meeting with disciples. This not play, and you are already too serious." He said that I of course could have the room he had offered me, but that if I could stay somewhere else it would be better for me, as there were too many people coming and going at all hours in the apartment, and to see what I could arrange about some other place to stay.